And our political analyst Brian Sobel joins us. During tonight's forum, Hillary Clinton was asked right off the top some really pointed questions about the controversy over her private email server again. How did she do?
You know, I think she handled it okay, but it still seemed like she was very uncomfortable with the topic. And so over time, she's really got to get that message down, especially as we go into the presidential debates.
Brian, it always seems like she comes out and says, I made a mistake, but. Why doesn't she just come out and sit down and answer every question that everyone has and put it to rest? It seems like this whole debate over the emails is never put to rest.
It isn't put to rest, and she's partly to blame for that, for the very reason that you're talking about, Frank. She just won't say, hey, I made a mistake, I'll never do it again, and you know, we're moving on from here. It's always comma. However, if you knew what I knew, you would have taken the same position I did at the time. It's not working.
Polls show that more people trust Donald Trump when it comes to terrorism, but on the issue of foreign policy, more trust Hillary Clinton. How did either one of them do in those regards?
Well, I think they both did well tonight, explaining basically what they're all about. And you know, the moderator, I thought, did a pretty good job of asking some very tough questions, putting them on the defensive. But they got their points across. I think both equally did well equally.
Tonight's forum might be a preview of what we can expect to see in the upcoming debates.
Yes.
The first one is going to be later on this month. How important are the debates, and specifically that first debate?
They're huge, and here's the reason why. We have a large number of undecided voters. You know, roughly 13–14% of America, even though name ID is not the issue, still don't know which way to go. And there's still the problem with this election that it may be people are voting against somebody as opposed to voting for somebody. So these debates are going to be very, very big, and both better come in ready with their A game.
If you're their advisor, there's about 2 months to go till the election. What are you advising them to do in the final moments leading up to the big day? Really
starting to clarify their answers to questions. Both of them tend to give a quick hit and roll off the question and on to what they've been told they need to be talking about. But I think the more they can be specific, the more the American people will appreciate it and give them points for that.
You know, tonight, right off the top, they were asked to spend more time talking about their qualifications versus going on the attack to one another. Did they stick to that tonight?
A little, mostly. At times, they would still attack the other person. Really, right at the top, Hillary Clinton said, you know, yes, let's talk about the issues, but she was still programmed partway through that forum to go on the attack. And similarly, Donald Trump couldn't help himself either. He had to label Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton time and again as well.
Does it seem, though, like Donald Trump has calmed down a little bit?
Yes.
Is that a specific change?
Yeah, no, I thought tonight he was a different sort of person on that set, or at the Intrepid, the aircraft carrier. I thought he was a lot calmer. He wasn't goaded into flying off the handle. I think it's more the Donald Trump you're going to see in the debates, to be honest with you.
And today he unveiled his big plan to boost the U.S. military. Your take on how he did with that?
Well, I think he stumbled on that tonight. I think when he talked about the generals, you know, being
giving them 30 days to come up with a plan.
30 days, and it's a, you know, essentially it's a mess. Flag officers, the generals, are only doing what they're told to do, and they do it really well, and they try to follow the national policy. His criticism, I don't think, is going to play well in the military.
Brian, just very quickly, is this going to be a closer election than most people think?
Well, I think so. We're already seeing the polls tighten nationally. However, remember, it's always a state-by-state thing, and if you add up the states that are leaning Clinton and are in Clinton's camp, she would today win.
It's still her election to lose.
Exactly.
All right. Brian Sobel, thank you.
Thank you, Brian.